Hello, graphic designers. This is Fitchhorn, and you are in Graphic Design 1, and we are going to find Gravit, our Adobe substitution app, in order to start doing some online graphic design, some actual digital work. Where you find the link to Gravit is you need to go to your classroom Google site, and on the pinned post, where you see your class website, you click onto your site and it'll take you right to Graphic Design 1. And in course details, you're going to go ahead and look for your student sites. And there's important sites that you'll need to use over the next 2 weeks and in the future with me if we're still doing distance learning. Gravit is our design app, and then here's a couple of locations to find fonts, and here is the link to Canva, which is kind of pre-designed stuff, which is really great. And they have a lot of great design articles and videos, but let's focus on Gravit because I don't want you to learn to just change pre-designed stuff. That's not creative. I want you to create your own graphics. So we're going to go to Gravit, and the biggest thing you need to know is that the school has unlocked this for us to use, but I kind of figured out why they might possibly not approve it for everyone to use is because if you download the actual app, it can be problematic. So I would just go ahead and click Start Now. And what it might lead you through is giving them an email address. Do not use your S- because they can't verify who you are through the S-. Use a non-S- email, and they'll probably just send you a confirmation of account email that you might have to say, yes, this is me too. But when you just click Start Now, then what I would go ahead and do is notice that you can choose a lot of different types of design, and believe it or not, they are all different, not only in sizing, but in exporting the design. There's the way that the files are saved. It's different depending on whether you're doing digital or print, but we're going to start this project with a predetermined print size, and notice we're on new design, and we're going to stay away from the European sizes because we're not in Europe, and we're going to go to US letter landscape. And you'll notice this is called your artboard. And you'll notice over here, sorry about my image blocking the way, can't help that. You'll notice over here that you have, this is what your document is right now. It's telling us what size it is. This is options, whether to rotate it. We're not going to worry about bleeds or margins until we work on our concert poster. And we need to keep the color mode. Usually when you're working in print, your color mode is CMYK, which we would click the drop down to choose that, but that's pro mode, and we're not pro mode. You have to pay for that, so forget that. We're gonna leave the grid off for this project, but for our concert poster, we're gonna turn that on. And then we're gonna look over here and see that we have something called layers, and every time we design something on here, it creates a new layer. And so you'll see that as we start typing, all the different words from the project today have to be on a separate layer. So if you see layers and you hover over here, this is to create a new layer, and that's to trash a layer. Okay, and we want to keep it on one page. That's your artboards. Notice when we hover over page 1, then the artboard turns hot pink. We could add pages, but that's for like books or multi-page documents. We just want to use one page. And you'll notice the assignment for today was talking about fun fonts and how we need to learn to visually represent a word with our typography. So you are to choose 5 of the following adjectives / nouns, and then you are going to type them in Gravit in a different font, so that way the font looks hungry. The font looks, the font makes the word hungry look hungry. The font, makes angry look angry. So let's go ahead and let's start. The first thing you need to do is you need to use the text tool, and notice when you hover over the icons, it tells you how to use them. So if you want to explore Gravit further now that you know how to get there, that's totally up to you. But for this exercise and every exercise, you need to put your name on the project when I tell you to. Most of the time it's just saving the file, but if you want to go ahead and I'm just teaching you to use text. That's why I'm making you do it this time. I left clicked and dragged a text box, and notice it says your text here, and you're going to put your student name, not my name obviously, and then Graphic Design 1 period 3. Okay, And then notice over here in text, this is telling me whether it's visible or not. Clicking on and off the eyeball makes it visible. Locking it means that nobody can touch it. Like you can't do anything to it if it's locked. All right, and you can rename that layer by double clicking the word text. Let's unlock it. Double click the word text and it turns light blue, and we'll name this the name so we know that that's what that layer is. Don't lose track of your layers, guys. It's a pain in the tush. All right, so I locked the layer, but now I need to create a new layer. Grab the text tool, and I'm going to go ahead and find the word sweet. I guess I'll start with the word sweet. Now, if the word disappears on you when after you've typed it, okay, I want you to notice if you hover over these corners called anchors, you can move them in and out. But if your word appears like that, or it's halfway typed, it's because your box isn't big enough. You need to get your text box bigger, okay? And so these are anchors, and then this is your rotation tool, the white circle, and we don't want to rotate the text, please, not for this activity anyways, but for future reference, that's what that does. And I want you to see how you can change the word sweet to look sweet. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and make sure that layer is active, and I'm going to go ahead and name that layer sweet. So I know that that's that word right there. Notice when yeah, all right. So over here in this panel, it's telling me the appearance of my text is that it's black. If I want to change my text, if I click on this little icon of a black circle, it will give me swatches in which I could change the swatch. Now, don't change your text to yellow. Look at that. That's not appropriate, or anything light, but maybe sweet looks pink, and maybe pink is a little too hot pink for me. Maybe I want a tint of pink, so then maybe I would pick either more up in the tints up here, and notice wherever I choose within the color range, my word, if you're looking at the word, changes. Wherever you click it is whatever color it will turn. All right. And I want to go back to that pink for sweet. And then you're like, well, and then I'm going to click off of this to get out of there. And so anytime you've got pop-up windows or need to get out of a mode, if you click off the artboard, when it asks you if you want to autosave, yes, just go ahead and name this project, last name, first initial, underscore, fun fonts. That's the name of this activity. And hit save. Okay, there we go. And it will tell you up here that you've got the files now named last name, first initial, underscore, fun fonts. When I click back on the text over here, the color, I change the color. This is what we were talking about in the typeface families. If there's fonts within that family, like obviously Open Sans is a typeface, and there's the different family members, right? And you can see it changes every time you click it. But if you want to change the size so you can actually see what you're doing, if you click on the drop down by the point size, that's when I'm referring to text as point size. It goes all the way to 72. So you can see that definitely increased the size of it. If you ever need something bigger than 72, you just double click over and scroll over that and change it to 100, 150. But remember that you have to drag the text box big enough to fit the whole word in there, okay? We can always bold in it. In this case, I want it back to where it was. This changes obviously the weight of it. I like extra bold. That looks really sweet. You can italicize it, but I just like it the way it is. And then we'll learn more about alignment and vertical spacing later. Opacity means how visible it is. Notice when I turned down the opacity, it got really, really light. But for this one, please use 100%. But this typeface doesn't say sweet to me. So you're like, Fitchorn, how do I find my fonts and my typefaces? So if you click the drop down, now these are not the same, these are not the same typefaces that you'll find in Illustrator, because again, these are all free. But if you scroll through and make sure you don't just click whichever one you want, really look through from A to Z, all the different things that you could find to represent sweet, or angry, or hungry, or kooky, or Pennywise. And and then we'll go ahead and pick one. Let's go ahead and pick homemade apple. Looks kind of sweet. Open that up a little bit, and there's one word. And then you continue with all your 5 words, creating a new layer for every single one that you do. So like maybe this one would be scary. And that doesn't look scary, so I have to change the color on the typeface kind. But then I want to make sure I know that I'm on the scary layer. Okay, and then just continue to create your layers and create your words and make them look sweet and scary and hungry and Pennywise, whatever. And then to save it, you go File, Export, save it as a PDF, please. That's a printable document at 150 dpi. And it will download it in your downloads. Mine's right here. And remember to submit it into your class drive by going to Google Drive. And you go, oops, that's not what I want. My Google Drive disappeared. I'll open it up over here. Let's go to how to find your Google Drive. I'm going to use Aiden as an example. When you start typing in your last name, first initial, your folder will pop open. And then you just drag it from the desktop where mine disappeared. It's right there. And then drag it and add it in. And then there it is. All right. Well, there's the one that I did earlier. Anyways, there it is. Okay, it replaced the other one. And then that's how I can see it, is when it's in this folder right here. Okay, so happy designing, guys. I hope that helped.